It is 29 minutes past 9 on a beautiful Monday morning, and we are now speaking with the entrepreneur and former president of Minara Chamber of Business, Mr. Ebrahim Patel of Minara. And there's a small article we saw on Twitter, known as X now, by Adam Habib, which said that he spent the summer break in South Africa, mainly Durban, Cape Town, and Johannesburg, and he is utterly astonished by the turnaround in Durban, from the hedges on the roads being cut to security on its beaches to the cleanliness of its city center, which he visited, and he is astonished by this beautiful turnaround. He said that shows you cities can turn. Mr. Ibrahim Patel, assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and shukran for having me on.
No, jazakumullah khaira, shukran for your time. And please do take us through this Durban story, which seems to be really interesting, especially knowing for those people who stay in Durban and those who went down for the December holidays, that in a couple of years we've been having an issue at the beach, specifically with the security, specifically also with the issue of the contamination of the waters, etc. Now, how does now this article come in and show us the turnaround of the city altogether?
Well, let's view it in context. Because in 2023 December, Adam Habib posted his experience of Durban. At that time, on his X tweet, he said that Durban was in a state of decay and he found the place in quite a mess. And so in that context, his experience in 2024 has been a total turnaround. As a tourist in our city, he has obviously seen this turnaround. And the challenge for us as residents of the city is because we are so imbibed and affected by the issues, we really don't see the silver lining that has taken place. So when Mayor Cyril Kaba was appointed as the mayor in July of 2024, the former mayor, Lisi Kaunda, was recalled and sent off to Parliament, and Cyril Kaba, who was previously the MEC for Agriculture in KZN, was appointed as mayor of Durban. Mayor Kaba is a lawyer by he has a very high law degree qualification, and he's an astute administrator. And so when he came into the city, his focus was on turning the city around. And within a few weeks, we actually saw the changes within the CBD itself, within the city center, where cleaning services were reinstated, the streets were swept, all the dirt was cleared up, and there was a great deal of focus on turning the physical environment around. So not only has he focused on turning the physical environment, and for tourists in Durban this year, the evidence would have been those that went down to the beaches in the last week would have seen how packed the beaches were. And that's not just purely because of the hot weather that we enjoyed in Alhamdulillah. Today is a very cool, rainy day. But it was purely because the facilities that were created around the beach environment have gone back to a better state than they were. So there was a huge focus on security. The police presence in CBD and in the beaches was quite high, much higher than in previous years. We saw a lot of law and order, enforcement of law and order, traffic enforcement, focus on making sure that people were safe in that environment. The beaches were quite clean. We have gone past that huge E. coli breakout that we had last year, and that is thanks to the city now focusing on the infrastructure side. So there's been a great deal of investment into the infrastructure, and part of that has to do with the formation of the Presidential eThekwini Working Group. And if you recall, that working group was appointed by President Cyril Ramaphosa in January of 2024 at the insistence of business. We took to him the issues that the city was facing and the fact that as an economic contributor to the GDP of the country, as a very important contributor to the GDP, based on the fact that Durban has the largest and busiest in South Africa, and a great deal of the economic activity takes place through the port, that the issues that the city was facing was impacting on business. And so the president appointed a working committee that is made up of the various ministries, business, labor, and civil society, and the municipality. And that working committee has been working on some of the key issues, and that being water and sanitation, safety and security, the E. coli outbreak on the beaches, and infrastructure within the city, and the financial stability of the city. And in that 12-month period, it has made a great difference to the city. So we are seeing this as residents, as business, as people that are involved within the city structures itself. We're seeing this great change that is taking place. And I think that we are on a road of positivity.
Now that's interesting. Now, obviously post COVID, we saw a very big slump and decline in tourism. Altogether, in many ports and parts of South Africa. Now, this strategic point of Durban now taking up a whole new look at, obviously, looking at the security and the cleanliness of the city, etc. Now, what does this now have in store for the tourism of South Africa at large?
Well, let's look at the tourism of Durban, and you raise a very important point in that tourism is a key contributor to the economy of the city. There were two major issues that the city has faced in the last 3 years. One is the Hilton Hotel adjacent to the International Convention Center was closed during COVID and never reopened. And that impacted on the ability of the city to attract conferences, large-scale global conferences to the ICC, because there's no hotel operating adjacent to that. In October of 2024, the Hilton Hotel was reopened. And so that's given a great deal of confidence, and that is the mayor stepping in, Mayor Taba stepping into the issue and finding an amicable solution between the city and the owners, because in that period of time, the city was still charging municipal rates and taxes on the property, but there was no income being derived, and so the owners were trying to find a way of settlement of that debt to the city so that it will allow them to open and recapitalize the hotel, which they've started doing. They've opened up 5 floors of the hotel. It's already started doing conventions and meetings. The restaurants have started up, and slowly they will start opening the rest of the hotel. That settled the Hilton ICC issue. The second issue that the city faced was that there was uncertainty around the Elangeni, the old Southern Sun Elangeni and Maharani hotels, whose lease from the city had come to, and the city had put it out to tender, and there was this fear that these two iconic hotels will move out of the Southern Sun brand into unknown brands or be turned into student accommodation, which would impact on property values on the beachfront and impact on tourist attraction to the beachfront. That was settled again in November of 2024 when the lease was renewed with the Southern Sun Group, and they have invested money into renovation of the building. So that's created a great deal of confidence around the tourism sector. The city itself has put a lot of emphasis on unlocking tourism, and so we have seen a great number of initiatives, both through a marketing drive and making certain that the beaches are clean and welcoming to tourists. And I think that has turned the tourism industry around. So there's a lot more confidence in the tourism industry. However, we also require not just domestic tourism, but we require foreign tourism as well. There has been a number of discussions in the private sector with the foreign airline operators to bring in more flights into Durban, direct flights into Durban, and so therefore we can increase foreign tourism into Durban.
No, that's
there is one other important factor that is currently in the pipeline, and that is the development of the 1 billion rand Club Med holiday resort that is taking place on the north coast of Durban, just outside of Zimbabwe, and that would be a huge attraction to chartered foreign tourists coming into Durban. And I think that is going to be a great turnaround for tourism for Durban.
No, most definitely, because we understand that with tourism comes a better and a bigger, larger opportunity for the local people also to start businesses, especially in B&Bs, Airbnbs, whatsoever, and other platforms where they can also be part of this changing prospect to the South African economy. Now, obviously, we look at the part of the E. coli outbreak that we had about over a year ago. Now, how assured are we that we won't have the same problem in the future, especially now looking at the point that people are always worried when they go to the beach that they might find a situation whereby there is an outbreak or might not be able to now access the beaches due to maybe some restrictions there. Now, how can people now feel safe, easier to access the beaches in the Durban front?
Well, if we look at the numbers of people that were on the beaches in the last week, I can tell you that people were confident. I myself went down to the beach on a number of occasions because of the heat, and then we enjoyed our time in the water. And there was a huge number of people. I don't think that the city can give 100% assurance because E. coli outbreak depends on a number of factors. One is if we have floods as we had in 2022, which impacts on the infrastructure, the carrying of the sewer infrastructure, which flows out into the sea, that can lead to E. coli blooms. If we have the rivers carrying contaminated water, again, that can create E. coli blooms. So it depends on a number of factors. But currently, at this moment in time, there's a great deal of confidence, and I can tell you personally, having been down to the beach, that there hasn't been any issues. Once we are focusing on E. coli and tourism, there is another aspect of the turnaround of the city. In November of 2024, the KZN investment conference took place in Durban, and at that it was announced almost 500 million rands of investment that had taken, 5 billion rands of investment that was based in the city. And that includes the 1 billion rand Club Med, the 1.2 billion rand West City development that's taking place between Durban and Pietermaritzburg at Shongweni, the reinvestment by Toyota, the investments by PPC Cement. So a number of sectors that we are seeing a great deal of investment taking place. And that says to us that business is now once again confident about the outlook of the city and the positivity of the city. And that has led to a stabilization of the politics of the city itself, number one. That's a very important aspect, that for a number of years there was political instability, which could have led to the collapse of the city council and therefore the functioning of the city. The second part is that with the Presidential Working Committee, there has been a great focus on rooting out the issues that were impacting on service delivery. Those were issues of corruption, of maladministration, of misadministration. So these issues are being dealt with on a daily basis and are being attended to. So I think that both as a business person and as a resident of the city, I can see a great deal of positivity taking place.
No, that's beautiful. And we really hope that we get to see such developments in many other parts of the country, more specifically, obviously, the famous parts like Cape Town, Johannesburg as well, and there are other places which can actually afford us beautiful scenery when you go there for holiday. Mr. Ebrahim Patel, Jazakallah khairan, thank you very much for your time, and it has been a splendid talk regarding the developments of Durban, and we hope to see more developments in the upcoming months so that we can see stability in the South African economy, especially in tourism, which had seen a slump after the COVID situation. Jazakumullah khairan. Right. So we'll be taking a quick break, inshallah. Then after that, we'll be speaking to the Deputy Minister of Social Development, Mr. Hanif Hendricks, who is also the leader of the Al Jamaa Party. So let's take a break.